Okay, today I want to talk about dressage, and particularly I want to talk about the leg yield and the half pass. I want to explain why the leg yield is equivalent to a shoulder in and why the hunches in is exactly equivalent to the half pass. I also want to talk about this other thing that for beginner students sometimes it's very disconcerting, which is that trainers say that in a half pass the head must always go before the hunches. And many students are embarrassed to ask, but they're thinking, but that's how horses are born. They're born with the head before the hunches. And I'm going to try to explain what this refers to. I think that the drawings that I did on a little piece of paper are going to be quite useful for this. Today I was trying to explain a friend over the internet why leg yield is really a shoulder in and why a half pass is really a hunches in. But not only that, I was also explaining this thing about the head being in front of the hunches. And I'm going to use this little model of a horse. These are my long sides of the arena. And if my horse is doing shoulder in, shoulder in, shoulder in, shoulder in, shoulder in along the left side of the arena, if I drew a diagonal line and I did the same shoulder in from the perspective of the judge that is here and is looking straight down the arena, my shoulder in for him is actually a leg yield, right? The movement is exactly the same. If you blindfolded the horse, you wouldn't know which one is which. He wouldn't know which one is which. Now, what happens with the... by the way, we frequently define the leg yield in terms that the leg yield in terms that the horse is moving towards one direction and the neck is bent exactly in the opposite direction. In the half pass, the horse is going to be bending towards where he's going. Give me just a sec. I need to, here it is. I have the same arena, only that this time the diagonal is in the opposite direction, because what I want to explain is that the hunches in here, look at this, hunches in on the long side of the arena. Hunches in, hunches in, hunches in, hunches in, hunches in. And again, if you blindfolded the horse and you put him on the diagonal and do exactly the same movement that you were doing on the long side of the arena, look at what's going to happen. The horse will not know that it's hunches in, that it's a half pass, and he would think that it's just hunches in, right? So hunches in along a diagonal is a half pass. Why do we say that the head is in front of the hunches, which is that funny expression? Because if I draw some vertical lines like this from the perspective of the judge, in a half pass, the head is reaching those lines before the hunches. Look, you see? The head is reaching each and every one of those lines before the hunches reach those lines. Now, you can do it wrong and you can do it like this. And in this case, the half pass would be wrong. That would be too much of an angle here. And now the hunches are getting to the lines before the head. That's what's wrong, all right? The proper way to do it again would be like this, where the head is getting to the lines before the hunches. And that is why the leg yield is equivalent to the shoulder in, and hunches in is equivalent to the half pass. I think that's all I wanted to say. Bye, chatos. I also wanted to say that you can actually, before you start your session with the horse, you can actually go to the arena and with your foot, you can trace on the sand the diagonal line for the hunches in or the half pass, and then go get on the horse and follow that line doing a hunches in. You can actually do it. That's all I wanted to tell you about, folks. I'll see you the next time. Bye. Have a good weekend.